go time.
Let's go.
Let's go. Of course, we're here located in beautiful St. Cloud, Florida. Where we at, Chris?
4001 Street, beautiful St. Cloud, Florida, at Gators Dockside.
Gators Dockside, of course, the place for the coldest, best beer in the States. Of course, the hottest and best wings as well, in
Absolutely.
my humble opinion. But
and when you come out here, come see Angelica.
Angelica is the best.
Hey, be sure to tip your waitress.
Yes. So absolutely ask her for my name. But here, guys, we're excited about the start of the NFL football season. The most exciting part of that football season for us, for Florida Man Football, is fantasy football. So, of course, we have to go over who are the top guys, who are the guys you should avoid in that first round, who are your sleepers, what's the strategy. Overall, it's something that's not going to overwhelm you, but keep it a simple, strategy sheet for you and your draft coming up.
Absolutely.
One thing you should avoid, I know we spoke about this several times, avoid having your draft too soon. If you're one of those morons that already had your draft, my condolences.
And to your point, Johnny, I apologize to the players, not the commissioner. Commissioner, you're the idiot that had the draft way too soon, is what you're saying, right? And so to the people that are subject to that, especially the ones that paid their good earned money for it, I think it's terrible. When is our draft?
Our draft is September 6th, I believe, right after the last game in the preseason.
So one of the few things that our commissioner has done right is to have a late draft, which is the right thing to do.
It only took him several times because we've had previous years we did it too soon, but he's dumb as a box of rocks.
Yes.
So it took a lot of convincing to have him realize that you have to wait. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the preseason. For me, it's just about the injuries. We have to go ahead and make sure we get through all the injuries, Chris.
It's the injuries, but I also love to see the rookies play. I want to see what kind of touches, what they look like, how they're playing, because the rookies got a lot to play for, especially those early round draft picks. So yeah, injuries are 100% the reason, but also I like to see the rookies play.
I don't put a lot of weight on any of those things. Injuries, that's it. That's all I'm concerned about with the preseason. If any particular player plays well, because you're supposed to. You're playing against the third string. You're playing against kids that are trying to make the team.
Johnny. They're playing their hearts out.
I get all that, but I'm not going to overhype or look at this kid. Look, they're overhyping Simpson for looking good with the Rams. And I'm like, yeah, he was going against crap. He's supposed to.
My number one draft pick. Well, listen, this is why this episode, you're going to want to tune in here, Florida Man Football, for a couple of reasons, right? One, you're going to get the two perspectives here from the Florida Man, but also I just want to point out that you are also talking to a champion of fantasy football. So the advice that I'm going to be giving you is gold. I'm sorry, when did you last in the Clinton administration?
Emotional, damn it.
When was the last time you won a championship?
Yeah, sure. I know you're not talking.
As the champion of fantasy football, I'm glad you're tuning in.
Look at that trophy. It's amazing. We'll start off, Chris, of course, with the obvious here. Your top tier players. Who are the guys that can't miss?
Let's go.
These are the players that look at them, you will not miss it. Now, we always, barring injuries, we always hope that doesn't happen here, but these are the can't miss players coming in, Chris.
Yeah.
So start off with your first guy. Who's your first guy cannot miss?
If you have the luxury of selecting this young man, there's no question about it. Out of all my three that I'm going to go over here, Johnny, you have to take him, and that is no other than Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs, Detroit Lions. This is the year of all years that you're going to want him if he's available. If he's number one, if he's number two, if he's number three, it's Gibbs. Couple of quick reasons.
Okay.
Number one, you got to look at the season. Last season, the Lions regressed, 9-8 season. This summer, they're working on his hands. You no longer have Montgomery. He's going to be more of he was already a great running back one. Now he's going to be catching the ball more. I mean, the list goes on and on. The durability is there. He's just entering into his prime years. And again, the Lions have to go all out offensively. Last thing I'll say, St. Brown. Like he's really like healthy this season, starting healthy week one. They help spread the ball around, which clears him up to play better. So for me, it's Gibbs. And I hate to say this because it's a Lion. You know how I feel about the Lions.
I got two Lions.
But for me, it's Gibbs.
I mean, Gibbs is, I get it. I cannot look at Gibbs and say it's a can't miss because obviously we know the talent with Gibbs. We know that.
Man. Yeah.
But the problem I have is around the Detroit Lions in general. We've already seen that their coach isn't the guy that everybody thought he was. That team was really formed around their offensive coordinator. And when he left, the offense left with him. And so while, of course, I'm not knocking Gibbs. Gibbs is a fine choice, but not better than JSN. Okay. JSN is a can't miss. This guy is going to have stupid numbers coming off a Super Bowl championship here. He's coming up there. That dude is the guy. He's the best receiver in the league right now. And last time I checked, this is a passing league. That dude is a can't miss for obvious reasons. I can lay down the stats for you, but that's a no-brainer. JSN is... That's the dude. Gibbs is good,
again,
but not above JSN.
We're letting it rip. This is just our first can't miss picks. We're going to have other ones here, Johnny. But again, what you're basically saying is you pick him over Gibbs if they're both on the board with the first or second round pick. And I have to disagree. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, who's the other guy? You got anybody else?
Of course. Absolutely. So, and again, I already mentioned I'm not big on the Lions. You know how I feel about the Lions. You damn sure know how I feel about the Raiders. You know that.
Okay.
However, this is the new Tom Brady. This is the new Tom Brady Raiders. I'm not even calling them the Vegas Raiders. They're the Tom Brady Raiders.
Okay.
You've got a new coach, a new offensive system that I believe in.
Okay.
And you've got a running back in Ashton Genty,
who
is if Gibbs is not available, you're gonna go Genty. And when you do, you can send messages back, thank me later, say, man, Christian, you were right. Once again, former champion right here was right. But here, it's not just that.
Sure.
Look at the perfect system that they have right there for the Raiders, the new offensive scheme. And now you've got Genty, who's also going to be catching passes as well. You've got the rookie quarterback. And even if Cousins starts, Johnny, they're going to be giving the ball to Genty. They're going to be feeding the machine. And if you've seen him this summer, if you've seen the way camp has been, the guy looks elite. I don't know how he put an extra 15 pounds of muscle on. So again, if Gibbs is not available, it's Genty. And again, you can thank me later.
Genty. So you have a new offense, new coach, new everything.
Yep.
You still have the same old, tired offensive line.
Did you not hear I just said the Tom Brady Raiders?
Tired offensive line. That's going to take a while to kind of develop and get them where they need to be. Yes, they're going to rely on him. Is he going to survive? He's barely surviving a preseason already with an injury. So in general, like this whole segment we're doing right now is can't miss players. Chris.
Yeah, in the first round. In the first round.
Can't miss.
These
players, you can't. Yeah. Okay, in general, you can say the first round 7 more times. It doesn't change the fact that these are can't miss players. And you picked a Raider.
Whenever I talk,
a Raider.
Did I not say that they're the Tom Brady Raiders?
A can't miss player. No, it's clearly Bijan Robinson. That's another can't miss player. You look at that offense, everything he just said, but it actually makes sense with the Falcons here. It's going to be one of the top offenses in the league. Now, is it going to equate to wins because that defense is pathetic? I don't think so. But at the end of the day, Bijan Robinson is the dude. You have, it's going to be Tua is going to be the obviously starting quarterback, and you can say whatever you want against Tua, but Tua actually plays well when he has offensive weapons and the climate's good. Home games, Bijan Robinson is going to be the top dude. So for me, after I told you what JSN, the next dude is Bijan. Bijan Robinson is top tier. I have him rated ahead of Gibbs based on their offense. So Bijan Robinson is a can't miss player, not Genty.
I'm going to give you my third first Florida Man Football here, streaming on all major platforms. I'm going to give you my third can't miss pick. And again, I want to remind everybody that I am champion. Johnny's not. But let me give you a little bit of
Just because you were champion 3 years ago.
Let me give you the other side of the coin. When you're talking about the Atlanta Falcons,
okay,
you're going to trust the new coach out of Cleveland. You're going to trust him.
Look what you're saying. Look what you're saying.
You're going to trust.
You hear yourself?
You're going to trust Dink Tua, who can barely catch a ball, let alone.
Hypocrisy knows no bounds.
No, I'm serious. You're trusting him, and you're saying, and it's one thing. I get it. He's going to go in the first round, guys. We're not arguing that here at Florida Man Football. But what I'm simply saying, the last comment that you said, I'm not going to let you take it away. That you would pick him above Gibbs. Sorry, that makes no sense. No sense.
It does, because
that's irresponsible. You should apologize to the fans.
That's a team that's going to try to replicate the greatest show on turf. They're going to try to do something here and just try to air it out and try to dump past to Bijan. They're going to use him the way that Detroit uses Gibbs, but they're going to be more successful with it because their offensive scheme makes more sense. And then Tua, you can say whatever you want. He's a complete mess. I think he's going to have a good year, rebound statistically, and especially at home. The problem with Tua is going to have is that when he's playing in December and anything that's under the 60 degrees, but Atlanta plays in a dome, they're going to do very well offensively.
Look for no further. I gave you 2 running backs so you can't miss on. If they're not available, then you look no further than Mr. Jamar Chase. This is the best receiver in all football, not JSN. We can agree to disagree.
That's ridiculous.
At the end of the day, Jamar Chase, 4 out of the 5 years, top 5 wide receiver in the league, and that is without Burrow with the injuries the last couple of years. Can you imagine what they're going to do this year? And I already know what Johnny's going to say. Oh, their offensive line. Look, at the end of the day, you have a healthy Burrow. You got a healthy Bengals team that's trying to turn things around. This is going to be a year where Jamar Chase is going to be probably the number one total points, even though I have him number 3. But no, it's Jamar Chase. And at 26 years old, he's entering his prime. They play the Bucs week 1. We know that the Bucs unfortunately give up a lot of passing yards.
Oh,
so
wow. Football.
And
you're over
don't
here.
I'm keeping it real.
Knocking the Bucs.
I'm keeping it real. So Jamar Chase, not JSN, that is the number 1 receiver that if he is available, you take him.
No, I'm not hating on Chase. Chase is a fine pick. He's definitely in that mix here. But to say that he's going to have a better year than JSN is just ridiculous. For everything you said, listen, I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. Is Joe Burrow going to survive the season? That's the issue. You can say whatever you want, but yeah, with Joe Burrow and Chase in the mix, they're going to do it. Is he going to survive it? I don't believe that he can. The Bengals are a mess. I don't think it's going to work out the way it needs to work out. So for me, you can say what you want. Chase is legit, but Burrow's not going to survive the season because
who's your third guy?
It's Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, Indiana Jones there. When they were in the mix there, he's a can't miss running back. As long as Daniel Jones is the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, they're going to do well. Jonathan Taylor was the guy. He was the best back fantasy-wise in the league when Daniel Jones is the quarterback. So when he was there and he's healthy, he was dominating. And then, of course, when Daniel Jones went out, everything kind of changed because the offense has to change. So as long as Daniel Jones stays healthy, which I expect him to, I don't expect another disastrous injury for Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor is a can't-miss running back.
Going back to that, you must be really good friends with Lewis. Lewis is one of our guys that plays fantasy football with us. Yeah. You must love Lewis because
that's must be
every year the guy drafts Taylor and he has a good season. I'm thinking that this year, so we're talking about Taylor, that he's been so consistent that I think it's about time he plateaus a little bit. And I kind of see him having
2 years before he did not have a consistent year, he had a horrible year.
He had an injury season, but short of that, if you look at the stats over the last 5 years, he's been like this, boom, boom, boom.
You can't sit here and say
he just got a 2-year contract. He just got a 2-year contract because of last year, Johnny. So again, I feel like he's kind of going to plateau this year. I disagree with that. We can agree to disagree. And then you just made Lewis happy. That's all I got out of that.
No, the Colts actually have a good defense. Their offensive line is a good offensive line. It comes down to Daniel Jones being at the center. As long as Daniel Jones is the guy, everything's going to work offensively for this team. And Jonathan Taylor is going to have an outstanding year. Can't miss.
Florida Man Football here. Always want to remind you that we are streaming on those major platforms. Do like, share, and subscribe. So we are just talking about the can't miss first round picks, Johnny.
Yeah.
Well, what about those other players now that we need to avoid? Let's give the fans what they want and tell them what to avoid.
Understand what we're talking about here. We're not telling you that these players are not good.
Excuse me. I am.
These are for me what my understanding, unless you see it differently, is the players to avoid early. These are not players you can avoid. There's still some value there, but I'm not picking up any of these players in the first round.
Okay, well, I'm going to go further. I'm going to say you do not draft them at all. You stay away from them. I'm going to go on record.
Let's do this.
Because it's going to be a long, nice season, and I'm telling you, stay away from these guys.
Let's do this. Now, I'm going to tell you the players that I think you should avoid in the first round. That's the list I have in place. Chris is going to go ahead and tell you the players in general, just to avoid completely, because it's going to give you some heartaches. It's going to be a mess. So for me, start off with the players to avoid in the first round. Of course, I'm sorry. I'm a Florida Man Football. A chain, the running back for the Dolphins here. I think you should avoid him in that first round. Listen, we both know, we've talked about this disastrous season that the Dolphins are right there. Now, this is going to be headed with the chain, be the guy. He's going to be the guy. They're going to run the whole offense through him. They're hoping Willis does some things, but they're running everything through him. I think that's going to be too much weight on his shoulders. I think the injuries are right around the corner. I think that's something to where he's, like you said with Jonathan Taylor, is bound to go ahead and not be the guy that we expect him to be. I expect him to be this season. Is he going to have a productive season? He's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to survive the full 17 games. So if we're talking about a player that you need to avoid in that first round, I think it's a Miami Dolphins running back a chain.
Finally, Johnny Cinco and I are on the same page. It only took, I don't know how many minutes, 15 minutes in for us to be on the same page.
All right,
Chain is the guy, or Chaney, however you want to pronounce it. It's the name, it's the guy that you want to stay away from, period. I don't care if he's available. To your point, 44 out of the last 51 games he's played. Can he handle a full season? The biggest misconception that he has, he's averaged between 11 and 13 touchdowns all of his season. So that's why people are high on him, Johnny.
Yeah.
But what people don't really understand, that was with a McDaniels offense. That's with, with Cheetah, with Waddle. We're going into the unknown. The only thing that people do know is that he is going to be the bell cow. So teams are going to be planning for him. So why in the world would you forget about the first round? Why would you draft him at all? Sorry. And I know it's fair at all. Nope. Sorry.
That's insane, bro.
Sorry. Hard pass.
All right, man. All right, sure. Whatever you say, man.
Okay.
No, so who do you have? Okay, that's the only player you have to avoid completely?
Oh, no, I got a couple more, yeah.
Okay, so who do you have to avoid completely?
Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah.
Completely?
Yes, completely. And I'm going to tell you why. One, back in Notre Dame, I feel like he got a lot of wear and tear. That's just my opinion. We'll see how the season goes.
In college, rookie coming in had a lot of wear and tear.
I'm going to say
thing I ever heard.
Now, well, here's stupid. You want to hear stupid? You got James Conner, you've got Trey Benson, and you signed Tyler Algier from Atlanta, promising him that he'd get starter reps, and then you go and draft this guy. You've got 4 people in that running back room that want the ball. You've got a team that's going nowhere. You talked about how Miami is going to be planning. We talk about how they're going to be planning for him.
I got to breathe here. Go ahead.
Go ahead and breathe. The fact of the matter is this guy's going to get drafted in the first round, even though he's probably a second to third round pick to see what happens. And at the end of the day, I'm sorry, he's going to be a bell cow, but there's going to be an order.
Can you be
and I'm sorry, one more. He got injured. He got injured during the preseason. So it's
I'm aware of this.
No, the guy with the wear and tear got injured. Okay. So again, steer away. You're welcome.
Nobody's necessarily disagreeing with you. My frustration comes from when he was drafted. I said how stupid of a draft this was, and you praised this draft pick. And I'm like, no, the offensive line
is praise draft pick.
Love out of Notre Dame, the number 3 spot. You have any problems with that? Nothing at all. I don't know what the big deal is. I think I'll tell you what the big deal is. Okay, well, I don't at all.
You 100% did.
No, I did not.
It's one of the worst offensive lines in the league. He has a high ankle sprain now. It's coming on. That high ankle sprain, if everybody gets it, that lingers throughout the entire season. And the entire offense is going to be dependent on this dude. So you have a guy that you need a lot. I mean, talking about like 6 weeks of rest to really heal a high ankle sprain. He's not going to get it. They're going to depend on him heavily. It's just not going to work out the way it needs to work out. So yes, I agree. Love isn't the dude. I'm just more frustrated because you talked about beforehand when he was drafted, how this is such a great draft.
I didn't say it was a great draft pick.
Go back and watch the episodes.
What I said was I understand why they would pick him. All of the success he had in Notre Dame. It
doesn't make any sense with their offense.
I get why.
But
it doesn't mean that they're going to do well.
Everything I just referenced in terms of the backup, the running back room is so large, and everything I referenced is bad. Now you're saying
football is a very difficult concept for some people to understand. But there's a difference between the real life and fantasy. And right now we're talking fantasy football, not the actual.
Oh, okay. So it was a great draft pick.
In a fantasy football perspective, stay away from him. Here's where we can maybe meet at a middle ground.
Sure.
I'm saying to stay away from him completely. I think that what you're saying is just don't draft him in the first round. Is that fair?
Well, for me, everything I'm referencing is on my end. It's idiotic to any of the guys I mentioned in the first round. But you're saying to avoid him completely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are you saying you're okay with Love is what you're saying, just not in the first round. Is that okay?
I'm okay with Love.
Are you okay with the first round?
No, 100% not.
All right, that's fine. I'll take that.
I'm 100% not. What I'm saying, I'm agreeing with what you're saying, Chris. I'm just saying where it's like this, everything you're referencing is exactly the reason why I hated the pick when we had our draft show. We talked about I absolutely hated it.
There's a difference between fantasy and that.
You're saying the same things I said. Why? You don't come for fantasy. I'm like, you just were loving this guy.
There's a difference between fantasy football and regular. At the end of the day, we can agree to disagree. Right, cool. I'm just saying stay away from him in all rounds this season, and that's what I would do.
All right.
I got one more.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, okay.
Even if he's available, if he's not, first round, whatever, he's going between the 5th and 7th of the first round, which is crazy. At 31 years old, all the usage, short and sweet. I wouldn't draft him, and I wouldn't draft him in the second round either. I'd stay away from him.
No, it's foolish to be like that. I'm not going to draft him at all. But yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
No, you're the best.
Give him some sense because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
See, she wishes she could give me some sense. I want to get some sense.
So you can say what you want, but CMC, we're recording. But CMC is a good pick to stay away from the first few rounds. It's a gamble with him. So there's no point. I'm not going to avoid the dude completely, but it's a gamble. They're going to pick him up early. So for me, pick you need to 100% avoid in the first round is one of the premier wide receivers in the league. That's Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is the man, but you made the mistake last year picking him up in the first round, and how'd that work out for you under JJ? So now you sit here, you have Mini-Me Murray as the starting quarterback for the Vikings. Is it going to work? Maybe it's going to work. It's the same situation that we had last year.
Did you just say avoid Justin Jefferson?
In the first round, yes. So you avoid Justin Jefferson in the first round because the end of the day, you don't know what you're working with. And for me, if you're getting a first round pick, it has to be a can't miss. This is the guy I'm depend on, the anchor of my team. And we have no idea how this offense is going to look under Mini-Me Murray. I don't have a lot of confidence in this dude. I know he's going to try to throw to him and try to figure something out, but still, this is not the offense to go ahead and pick up this dude up first round. So no.
Again, I'm kind of, when I think about the first round, Jonny, I think about not just the first 3 picks. I think about people like myself that I'm going to have like the 12th pick or the 10th pick. And to say something like someone like Justin Jefferson is not worth an 11th or 12th pick, I think is irresponsible. I think that's wrong. So it's irresponsible. I think it's wrong. And more important, as your champion, I'm going to say that if Justin Jefferson is available in the later picks, the 10th, 11th, and 12th, he's definitely worthy of a first round pick.
There's plenty of wide receivers that are more of a sure thing than Justin Jefferson. So Justin Jefferson's fine. I like him in the 13th position, 14th position, not where a lot of people are picking him up in the 5th or 6th. So no, I get it. I think a second round pick is fine. Go and throw him a flyer, but first round pick is the anchor of your team, the can't miss guy, the guy you're depending on. You know that. And Justin Jefferson, this offense is too many question marks to say that.
All right. Well, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is a tough segment because there's going to be people that are going to agree with me, people that are going to agree with you. At the end of the day, I just want to remind people who the champion is and who they should be listening to.
Oh, my God. You can't reference, you're not the defending champion. You can't reference past championships.
That is none of your business. That is none of your business.
We both have past championships.
Now, again, Clinton years don't count. So now, one thing is about who should take, who should avoid. You decide what you want to do. It's your draft at the end of the day. But here's the more important question, Jonny. All of this comes down to draft strategy. And I mean, seriously, that's what this comes down to. Like, what is your draft strategy? And I feel like every year should be a little different depending on who's available. So this year, pose the question to you, sir. Well, what is the draft strategy?
Well, for me, I just try to look at who are they going to be the top offenses in football, team-wise. Just look at those top teams. And I'm going to try to heavy, just pick up players from those teams. Now, you have your running back. You make sure you handcuff them. You maybe pick up that handcuff a little higher than you want to pick them up. But we've seen the injuries, especially in the running back position, how important it is to go ahead and pick up that guy that's going to go ahead and back him up here. So for me, the top 10 offenses this upcoming year, the Rams, the Bills, the Lions, the Bengals, Cowboys, Chargers, Eagles, Ravens, Bears, and the Patriots are the top 10. So it's for me heavy on that squad from obviously the quarterback, running back, wide receiver position, and even the tight end. Those are the guys you want to go ahead and pick those teams up. It doesn't mean that the other teams are not going to have productive players, but my strategy this year is just focusing on players from those 10 teams, the best offenses in football. And of course, you're always going to go in and make some adjustments and figure things out depending on how the season goes, because there's always some surprises here and there, but those are the top 10 that I see. Teams.
So just want to go on record that Jonny Cinco's strategy for this upcoming season that you should listen to is to just focus on like a handful of teams, draft them regardless of what happens this season,
10 teams.
and you're gonna win a lot of games.
That's correct.
That's terrible. Okay, so that was terrible commentary. So for me, I'm gonna just tell you something. This is from the heart. Again, this is a former champion speaking to you.
Oh my God!
In fantasy football, like how many times I was gonna do that in this episode? In fantasy football, a lot of times you have a strategy. You highlight who you want to pick. You pick your lines. You pick your people, and then what happens? Life happens.
Yeah.
And then you start like second guessing yourself. Your gut feelings kind of go out the window, and then you start making mistakes. I'm going to tell you something about last season for me. Last season, I did exactly that. I highlighted players that I wanted for the first time in my life. I did that. I never done that in drafts. And then as those players were getting picked, I missed out on them. And because I did, I started deviating from my plan. And then there was guys that I had highlighted that I was like, oh my God, but it's too early to pick them. So I didn't.
Are you guys falling asleep too?
And guess what happened? Somebody else picked them. So this coming season, my message, my game plan, if you will, is stick to the plan. Whatever your gut is telling you, whatever your goal is, whatever your strategy is, if your strategy is to go hard running back, go hard running back. If your strategy is to go hard wide receiver, go hard wide receiver. But the one thing not to do is that there's a player that is available, but you're like, no, but that guy should be the next round. Take him. If you know something that I don't know and that person's going to blow up, take him. Go with your gut. Stop being a little pansy and have your draft. Because last year, had I have done that, I checked the stats, I checked the numbers, Jonny. Had I have done that and picked the people that were not supposed to be picked in that round, I'd be a 4-time champion.
I love, it's like what's the saying? They're like, I made plans and God laughs type of thing. And it's just, we're talking about fantasy football, but like,
Jonny, I'm not God, Jonny. I know you see me.
We all have a plan. We all have a plan. But it's an idiotic thing that this man says to where it's kind of like, no, stick with it. I'm like, no, you have a game plan. And sometimes majority of the time you try to stick with that plan, but you're going to have to deviate because that's not how the draft works. It doesn't work the way you want it to work. So you have a game plan. So you don't necessarily, pick a guy because he's going to score the most points. You're going to stick the most points for the next guy available, depending on your needs. So you make the adjustments, you pivot. Now, I always want to pair. This year, I want to pair my, quarterback with the top receiver if you can. You want to pair like everything. You want to handcuff your running backs. For me, I love going wide receiver heavy because there's more consistent. The running back position, there's so many injuries. Outside for a few, top running back positions, like I mentioned, like with John Robinson or Jonathan Taylor, those type guys, then I'm going to go ahead and take some chances on other players and figure things out. But if they're available, and pick up those top tier guys. But wide receiver, there's so many great wide receivers here in the NFL, so many options to go ahead and win your league. So no, I get what you're saying, but what you're saying is that no matter what happens, you stick to your plan. That's not how it works. Everybody knows how this works when you draft.
I guess we're going to have to see what happens this year when I stick to my plan, unlike last year, and we already know the results. I love how you're talking about pairing people. We got to grow a pair and stick to the plan of what you're doing.
Just because it failed miserably for you last year doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, I'm going to stick to my plan. Your plan was X. And then other players in the team, they went ahead and took those players from you. Then, okay, you should have some backups, have some things. But if you're going to go wide receiver heavy, you're not going to just draft a wide receiver who's maybe a third tier wide receiver who's available when a tier one running back is available. So you're going to make adjustments. You're going to figure things out. It's all based upon who's available. That's why the first round is so important to no, you can't miss with this guy. And this guy's telling you to draft, Genty as your can't miss guy. That dude's going to miss. That dude's going to miss. He's not a can't miss guy. So you can say whatever you want. Like for me, tier one guys are like Gibbs, Robinson, Chase, like you mentioned there. To JSN is definitely.
Genty.
So the tier two guys are St. Brown, James Cook, Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is one of those guys.
All those three guys are tier one, by the way. They're just want to go on record. Just want to go on record. If you have the first, 10th, 9th pick there.
Big question mark with the Dallas Cowboys because you're talking about with CeeDee Lamb.
I'm glad you brought
great
that up.
offense here, but everybody's so high on CeeDee Lamb. I'm like, Pickens is on a contract year. He's franchise tag. That dude wants the ball. He's going to go ahead and take a lot of touches and a lot of touchdowns from Lamb. So no, I disagree with you in that. So
we can say what you want. We can agree to disagree. Those are my tier one lesson. You know what we're going to do for Florida Man Football,
sure.
Jonny?
What is it?
What I think we're going to do for Edson on Facebook, we're going to put your top and my top, and we're going to share it on there. Let the fans decide, see what they agree or disagree on. Because at the end of the day, this is all just opinion, right?
That's true.
Let the fans decide.
True. All right. So let's move on, Chris. And we're talking back and forth here. I like the discussion, even though you're wrong. Let's move to really the part that a lot of people want to hear, especially when talking about fantasy football, is our sleepers. Who are the guys that are not really expected to do something here, or somebody you can get late in the round with tremendous value. So we'll go by different positions here, but let's start with our quarterback position. Chris, who is your sleeper in the quarterback position that people aren't expecting to have a great year?
Well, to your point, bringing up the quarterback position, I think is super important in fantasy when you're talking about sleepers. Sometimes people don't understand that. You got quarterbacks that go in like the first or second round, and it drives me nuts. By the way, I want to let you guys know that this trophy is solid gold. So it's, not about the size, it's solid gold. But at any rate, if you're looking for a quarterback,
it's
that
silver
is
in color, right?
That's gold. It's white gold. When you're looking for a quarterback and you're looking for a sleeper, somebody that you can draft literally with the last pick in the draft and can start for you for multiple weeks, look no further than Mr. Cam Ward. This year, you're going to thank me. Again, champion, you're going to thank me. I hate Brian Daboll, however you pronounce the name. I hate him as a coach. I love him as an offensive coordinator. And that's we're going to start there. You add the fact that they got Carnell Tate, Wendell Robinson to help out Calvin Ridley, and you're looking at a big year 2 leap from Mr. Cam Ward.
This guy.
No, I'm not just saying this because I watched the Netflix special, which I did on quarterbacks, but this kid is the real deal. And just like
keeping it a buck.
Just like Peyton My Hands Williams had a decent year 2, I see Cam Ward doing the exact same thing. Yeah. So again, with the last pick, if you want to pick yourself up a quarterback that's going to be able to give you 20 points, he's going to be the dude. And this is what I love about Florida Man Football in this podcast is that in future episodes, when we're talking about Genty and Ward and all that, I'm going to be able to rub it in his face. The floor is yours.
I've watched a lot of Hurricanes football. I thought Cam Ward was arguably the worst first overall pick in over a decade. He's just not the guy. He is not the guy. And then you reference Calvin Ridley. How did that work out for Jacksonville? That guy, listen, this offense is a mess. This coach is a mess. Cam Ward is not going to do anything of real relevance this year, but you're going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, pick up Cam Ward. He's going to go ahead and lead you to championship. He's going to lead you to be out of the playoffs, and you're going to be out whatever you spend in your fantasy league. So Cam Ward isn't the guy, no matter what this guy says here.
So you're saying you would not, with the last pick up Cam Ward? I just want to make sure we're going on record.
I'm not picking up Cam Ward for anything.
Okay, what do you got? So
there's a couple of different quarterbacks here. I don't know if you have more than one. There's a couple that are going through my head here.
There's one.
But in general, I'm just going to go ahead and list the quarterback positions because they were all three tied for me. In Florida Man football, it's not a coincidence, but I like with the later picks on Baker Mayfield, Willis, and Slow for the New Orleans. These are quarterbacks. Okay, right now you can pick a Baker Mayfield in like the 9th or 11th round. So you get in somewhere, you don't have to wait till the last. This guy thinks that sleepers means it's the absolute last round. It's like, no, you can wait. You don't have to invest a top pick on a quarterback.
Okay.
You can still get Baker Mayfield, who's on a contract year, who's pissed off, who wants to go ahead and prove something here. Now with Willis's new offense here, they're going to be throwing a lot. The chain will get injured. The play action, it'll work early in the season, figure things out. You could be trade bait midway to a season, but Willis is going to be throwing that ball. He's going to get you some points. And Slow, the Saints and their Kellen Moore, this offense is a pass-first offense. The guy had a pretty good year for, the 11 games that he played. And I think this offense and the Saints team is going to blow up this year. So those three quarterbacks, I think, are quarterbacks you can get the 9th round and later. And that's good value at that position.
I already had very, very little respect for you as a human being, but now you just threw it all away. Mentioning Mayfield when we're talking about we're talking about sleepers. Okay, and I'll give you Slow. I'll give you Slow, and that's fine. You probably should have started with that one. I would have given you that as a sleeper because I think that you will have a good season and surprise a lot of people. But Baker's not surprising anybody. He's healthy.
Only Tampa Bay fans are going to pick him up before.
This is Florida Man football.
9. That's only. But things that you don't draft players. You don't draft players based because you root for a fan. You root for a team. You draft players on how many fantasy points you can get. And most people are not picking up Baker Mayfield early on, except if for fanboys. So in general, I think the 9 to 12 round, that range, you're able to pick up Baker, pick him up, and that is in that position. That's a value pick.
What's next position?
Oh, see, he's angry. He hurt his feelings there. The running back position, Chris. Who you got?
Sleeper, and this is the part that I regret in this podcast with Jonny, because at the end of the day, all he does in the draft is steal what I say, because he's literally going to grab and he's going to write down what I said and steal it. But that's fine. Look no further than Jordan Mason, Minnesota Vikings. I love what comes out of Coach Kevin O'Connell, that offensive scheme.
You have a crush on him.
You've got a 31-year-old Aaron Jones who's regressing, who's older, and he's the starter right now.
Injured.
But at the end of the day, Jordan Mason, by week 4, week 5, maybe even sooner, he's going to be running back 1, and he's going to have a breakout year in that offensive system. So you're talking about a sleeper, somebody that you can draft in later rounds. If you steal him, I'll burn your house down. It's Jordan Mason. Okay. It's Jordan Mason. You can thank me later. He's going to be, when this is all said and done, like statistically, points-wise, between 15 and 20. 5th ranked running back this season, and as a sleeper pick, that's amazing.
Any other running backs?
Oh, I would give you more, but
no, I'm saying anything.
I do. But remember, I can only give you so much.
That doesn't make any sense. I have a couple of running backs that I think a good sleeper here. First one is Jonathan Brooks for the Carolina Panthers. Now, this was a first-round pick from like 3 years ago, just injured. Remember, Chuba Hubbard came out of nowhere. Like Nico kind of went ahead and did some other things and really took over for Chuba. Jonathan Brooks, they're finally going to go ahead and give him the touches. They're going to see, is this a guy? You can end up picking this guy up, 10, 11, 12 round. That's tremendous value for what they hope is finally who's a first round running back pick is going to be healthy on what he's going to do. So Jonathan Brooks is good value towards the end. That's one of those guys you can probably pick up, probably a last pick. That's value there. Kyle Monangai, who's just recently got hurt with a sprained knee, is the backup here for the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears offense, is it going to translate to wins? I don't think so, but this offense is going to be big time. The coaches already talked about how they're trying to go ahead and break records. They're trying to go nuts. They're going to try to do everything possible offensively, and you have to go ahead and back up Swift with this guy as your backup, because Swift didn't necessarily ever finishes a 17-game season. So I like Mungai. to be the backup for the Bears, to be a good sleeper pick. Lastly, Emmett Johnson for Kansas City. Emmett Johnson, you can probably pick him up between the 11th and 12th round. Kansas City offense, I get it. They have some key pieces, especially in the running back room they've picked up. But Kansas City, as you know, just like the Patriots of old, the Belichick era, they rotate running backs nonstop. They're constantly rotating running backs. They're going through different things here. So you can pick up these guys. You never know if Emmett Johnson is the guy they're going to end up with throughout the season. So you pick him up late, if not the last pick, it can pay dividends for you.
You know, it's funny that actually I agree with a lot of names that you said because there's more than just one sleeper running back. But just remember that Jordan Mason is the number one sleeper, and you heard it here first before Man Football.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Moving on, Chris, the wide receiver position. Who are you sleeper there?
So this one, I'm going to give you guys gold. Again, you're not allowed to draft this person that I'm saying. So just so we're on the same page. Because if you do,
draft anything
if you do at Florida Man Football, I will never let you live it down.
Okay.
Look no further from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that is Ted Hurst III. In previous episodes, I told you folks, and I stand on business. I tell you the truth. And I told you guys that this guy reminded me of a lot of Randy Moss in the college career that he had, where it was Division I, 1A, and the career that Randy Moss had. Has the height of Mike Evans and the speed.
That's why.
And the Tampa Bay Bucks, as we know, at the wide receiver position, we're injury prone. So there's two factors here, Johnny, and I'll be brief here. There's two factors. One, Baker Mayfield does not have a wide receiver one that he likes to throw to. He didn't like the fact that Mike Evans was a wide receiver one, just like he didn't like it when Beckham was a wide receiver one and he needed to get the ball. That was the biggest thing. He's a gunslinger. He likes to throw it to everybody. So now he gets that opportunity because Mike Evans is no longer there. Number two, we know the injuries with McMillan, with Godwin. Ibuka's hurt right now. It's only a matter of time, but I'm telling you from a sleeper perspective, this kid is going to be a top 20 to 25 wide receiver talent that's going to help you win some games if you can draft him as a sleeper. You heard it. Oh, again, champion. Ted Hurst III. And he's going to be wearing a Harmony Buccaneer uniform this season.
Harmony Buccaneer uniform. For me, the wide receiver position, I like Matthew Golden. Yeah. Last year, very disappointing. Chris was really high on this kid coming up as a rookie. He's going to do something. The Green Bay Packers have lost. There was a lot of key receivers in that receiver room. They're going to look to this kid in this offense. I see this kid. You can really pick him up late in this draft and really get some tremendous value from him. I think he's going to have over 1,000 yards receiving. He's going to have over 50 receptions. He's going to give you some key production this particular year. You can pick him up after the 10th round. So Matthew Golden out of the Green Bay Packers offense is a key sleeper.
I didn't know a guy that played already in the NFL is a sleeper, but okay.
So under Chris's definition of sleeper has to be a rookie, apparently. No, it's just players you can pick up late in the round and get tremendous. You can get a first, second, or third round talent out of a 10th round pick. That's the definition of a sleeper, but some of us are slower than others. The tight end position, Chris, who you got in the tight end position, Chris?
Well, Florida Man Football, we had Mr. Mike McDaniels, last year, was the coach of the Miami Dolphins, right?
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, we all know this, yes.
Okay. Well, the reason why that's important is that he moved town. Where is he at now?
The Chargers.
And honestly, there's a lot of coaches. We've had conversations in the past where you don't make necessarily the best head coach, but offensive and defensively, you're good at what you do.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly. So my answer to you is the Los Angeles Chargers, period. When you're looking at the tight end position, you've got David Njoku, who's there on a 1-year deal for the Chargers on a prove-it deal.
Okay.
And he's already been known for all these years to get into the end zone, so I'm excited about him. And then you got Orlandi Gatson. Hopefully I said his name right. This is year 2 for him.
So every tight end for the Chargers?
Well, those two are some people to look at. And if I had to choose between the two, to answer your question, Johnny, I'd go with Njoku first because he's known to get the end zone. I just love the offensive scheme when it comes to tight ends for McDaniels. I love the play. And so for that reason, you take Njoku or you take Gatson because they both are going to be available in late picks. That's a real sleeper that has touchdown potential.
I get it. It's the Chargers offense is always a run first. Harbaugh runs that team.
But this year, this offensive scheme, I'm excited about it.
I mean, they're going to lean on Herbert a little bit, but we would all been waiting for this offense to explode into Herbert, and it just never does.
Right.
So for me, I think Juwan Johnson out of the Saints, I really like him. I like the Saints offense and they're Kellen Moore. Slow. The the biggest, help for especially a young quarterback is their tight end. Even last year, even under, which is 11 games under slow, 77 receptions, 889 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's going to have over 1,000 yards receiving as a tight end. I think he's going to have 100 receptions. That touchdown count's going to go up from 3. I think that's a big time tight end that nobody's really looking at that can really give you a production of a round 1, round 2 type production. You're going to get maybe in between the 8th and the 12th round. Secondly, Loveland out of Chicago. I mean, I know that Johnson's more of a sleeper, but Loveland at Chicago, this offense for Chicago Bears is going to be ridiculous. And you saw some samples of what Loveland can do. Loveland, 58 receptions, 713 yards, 6 touchdowns. But
he's not really sleeper-esque, but I get what you're saying.
He didn't hit in the ground running, probably by week 8, 9, he finally started to see what he can do. He was very slow to start the season last year. But I think now with, Ben Johnson kind of doing what he's going to do with his offense, I think he is big time. Now, you're not going to pick up Loveland around 10 or 11, but you can probably end up picking him up in between the 6th and the 9th round. And that's still tremendous value for a tight end at that skill. But I think Johnson, you can end up picking this dude up after the 10th round.
It'd be amazing if he lasts in the 10th round.
You don't think it? Oh, you think that Johnson won't?
No, Loveland.
Oh, no, I'm saying Loveland. That's what I'm saying. Loveland's a 6 to 9.
Okay.
Johnson, you're going to get on 7 to 10, 7 to 12. But you can end up doing something with those 2 talents. And the tight end position is always hard to try to find consistent points from. And I think these guys are it. Because you got to look at the offense. You got to look at those teams. I referenced my draft strategy that you mocked. You got to look at the top offenses in football. And I listed the 10 that are. And then from there, that tight end position, they're going to thrive.
Ladies and gents, if you haven't figured it out yet by now, the NFL season is almost back, and we are stoked to be here, Florida Man Football. Always want to remind you that we are at Gators Dockside, Johnny, and to let you know that going forward, we will be going weekly here. One thing that I just thought about when we did this episode, Johnny, we're 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
Last year, we had a lot of success where we did an episode where we actually had a draft live. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to do that again, probably in a week or so here for Florida Man Football. Give the fans again a little draft live. What do you think?
So they can see how someone who knows what they're doing drafts and someone who does not know what they're doing.
You see, I was trying to bring the middle of the thing to find. Yeah, you see that? Thank you for tuning in, folks. Any last words, Johnny?
No. Appreciate you guys.
Let's go.
Good luck.